Hi, welcome to the Russ and Vince Courtside Podcast. I'm your host, Vince. Before we go into the video, please hit that like and subscribe button down below if you enjoy our videos. Let's get right into it.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy and your host, Vince, and your other boy and your other host, Russ. Here to talk on the Russ and Vince Courtside Podcast, all basketball right now. Today's episode, we're going to be covering the Thunder and the Nuggets semifinal recap, predictions, what it's going to take for both teams to win and come out on top to make it to the Western Conference Finals. But before we do, man, what a treat that we had, at least for the Nuggets. I can't say the Thunder because the Thunder, they did exactly what we predicted. Swept the Memphis Grizzlies. But man, for the Denver Nuggets, what a thrilling first round against the Los Angeles Clippers. We got a chance to see that series go as far as game 7, and it did not let down unless you were a Clippers fan. Very much let down. The Nuggets dismantled the Clippers in game 7, and as predictable as one can predict, James Harden and the Clippers did not show up and show out in Denver for that game 7. But man, we had a great series for sure. And per usual, Jokic was just doing Jokic things. Outside of that, man, this is definitely a series that's worth watching. In the regular season, both the Thunder and the Nuggets tied the season series 2 apiece. So one could argue this is definitely going to be a toss-up series, not one that's going to be swept. Maybe not even gentlemen swept. This is easily possibly going to go 6 or 7 rounds, hopefully. Outside of that, my boy Russ, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. There's some good games we got to watch yesterday.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna go right into this with the first question of the day, Russ. I want you to give us your authentic opinion. Denver obviously coming in hot right now from game 7. Do you think that this is a game in game 1 where they well actually beg my pardon. Unfortunately, we've already seen game 1 as this is now being recorded. So we're going to really give a recap on what we learned about today's game as well as what we think happened. So, obviously, like we just established, Denver had to go and play a game 7 just 2 days ago. Today, they just got to play the Thunder. Thunder have been resting for almost it seemed like a week, right? As it currently stands, the final tally for game 1, Denver 121, Thunder 119. Denver was able to escape with a road win for game 1 against the number 1 seed Thunder. So, what I want to ask you to kind of tie in with this question, do you think this was a case where the Denver Nuggets in this case, since they are the winners of this first game, do you think it was the momentum from playing in that game 7 that carried them to this win? Or do you think this was a case where perhaps the Thunder, unfortunately, because they swiftly got rid of the Memphis Grizzlies, they weren't quite ready to get into that semifinal playoff mode that they need to get into to really win this game?
I think, Vince, that Thunder fans are probably thinking the same thing right now. I don't think it was Thunder having too long a rest because in between the end of the season and now, the Thunder have had 2 spring breaks in between that first round series, a week off before after the regular season ended and playing was going on, and then literally the week off after they swept the the eighth seed that they're playing. See, I don't even know who the eighth seed was anymore. Remind me, Vince, who was the
Memphis.
eighth seed? Memphis. Oh yeah,
Memphis.
that's right. Poor Memphis. But the Thunder can agree with me right now that they're probably thinking, Chet Holmgren, you need to learn Chinese, man, because you're going to the Shanghai Sharks next season. Bruh could not make free throws to save his life in the clutch right there. Crutch, man. Chet's gonna need a crutch, man, in that end game right there, because he's probably hurting in the locker room from his teammates because they're probably thinking, bruh, you missed both free throws? Really? Come on, man. That's how I was feeling. I'm feeling bad for the guy. I was like, dude, oof, that sucks. But Denver came in hot, and one could say that thank God Russell Westbrook passed the ball at the end to Aaron Gordon and didn't decide to play hero ball and make the shot or miss the layup like he normally does on the Lakers. Sad day. But I think that Denver just was hot, was coming in hot. But for me, I just think that it's going to be a tough series. I mean, Jokic did his thing, so that's my take.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. In terms of, at least for me, we're going to go right back into that. I do think that this was a case where the Thunder came out just kind of watching the game. I thought that they handled themselves pretty well for the most part, considering the amount of rest that they had. But this was definitely a game that it was very similar to the Nuggets Clippers entire series. They were never like blowout games. It was always close games, knick-knack. Like it could literally be a toss-up. You never know based on the duration of the game who's going to end up winning, and it just comes down to the end. It's not every game that you're going to expect a game-winning 3 dunk layup or whatever from the road team. So if I'm a Thunder fan, beg my pardon, I'm not really that upset, because if you really think about it, for the most part, the Thunder had commanded this game. If it wasn't for the fact that, like you had very, very well pointed out, Chet did miss those 2 free throws at the end. If it wasn't for the fact that Russell Westbrook didn't, well, actually, one could argue Russell Westbrook did exactly what Russell Westbrook does: unpredictable. One moment he could turn the ball over, the next moment he's dishing out an amazing assist that could be a game winner. And in this case, you got the good side of Russell Westbrook, who made the right timely play at the end, passed it to the corner left side to Aaron Gordon for a wide open 3. Splash. 2 seconds left. They got to take that ball all the way full court because they don't got any more timeouts left. And from that point on, the game was already over. So from a Thunder perspective, I mean, you got to wonder how many games are you going to get like that, where again Russell Westbrook from the bench is really affecting the game like that. I mean, Russell Westbrook actually had 18 points, 2 assists. He did have 3 turnovers, but again, that's just kind of the experience you get with him. But really, I would say you can contain that. Now, if you're a Nuggets fan, you're absolutely, absolutely thrilled. You took game 1 after just playing game 7 2 days ago. You beat the number 1 seed and the number 1 overall seed in this season's postseason playoffs, based off regular season wins and losses. And not to mention, here's a little stat factor here. The question that we often have with the Thunder is, outside of Shea, who else is going to show up? Because we already know you're going to expect at least 27 to maybe 35 points at best from Shea on a consistent basis. Outside of that, who's the number 2? It's supposed to be Jalen Williams. It's supposed to be Chet Holmgren. It's supposed to be anybody. The problem is with this game that we just witnessed, it was really Shea, and that was it. Alex Caruso really showed up and showed out with 20 points in this game, but outside of that, I mean, you're not going to win many games where your supposed second best player goes 5 for 20 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3, or your possible other second best player, which would be Chet, goes 0 for 3 from 3, and then 2 for 4 free throws, and the 2 misses that he had was in the clutch. So this is still a young team, and this was a question that a lot of us was wondering about, how far this team could really go, or if this team was really ready to take that leap. I know a lot of other media outlets are so ready to crown the Thunder as this season's Western Conference champions, but this was the reason why coming into the postseason, I wasn't really sure about that, because they haven't even made a Western Conference final appearance. So it's kind of naive for us to automatically assume that they're going to suddenly get there now when they haven't really proven that yet. Whereas, say, like a Minnesota, a Warriors, Denver Nuggets, these are all teams that have at least made it to a Western Conference, that have experience, and some have even gone beyond that. So I don't know. But here's a real good question that I think me and you have been really waiting to discuss with folks, okay? We got a very unique situation in this year's series, or at least the series right here that we're talking about. We got the last year's 2024 MVP against the projected to be 2025 MVP with Shea Gilgeous. So I want to know is who do you think is the real MVP, and who do you think is going to be the MVP in this series?
My bad. So first off, you're right. The Thunder, I mean, all we've seen them do over the last couple of years is beat a Pelicans team. They swept the Pelicans team last year. They swept the Grizzlies this year. I mean, like, Memphis isn't really like a team like everyone in the Western Conference was hoping for Memphis to be their first round series matchup. But like honestly, like the Thunder have only beat Memphis this year and then the Pelicans last year. Like it's nobody to be like, oh yeah, the Thunder, man, they really done something here. That's just my opinion. I appreciate the young guns, but you got to work up your ranks here. But the MVP in this series is well, funny thing is we got two MVP runners here in Shea and then Jokic. And so me personally, I think Jokic ends up being the MVP in this series, and you could clearly tell that the Thunder are a deeper team. Now I don't know how many players the Nuggets played, but the Thunder played a 10-man rotation. I mean, when the non-SGA minutes and the non-Jokic minutes was going on, you could see that the Nuggets definitely needed a lot more help without Jokic on the floor. They needed somebody. When SGA was off the floor, it was just another day, just it just felt like, Jokic has more of an impact to the team than Shea. Shea's really, really, really good, and I can appreciate that. I just think that Jokic, I mean, for one, Shea had 33 points in this game. Jokic had, I want to say 40, what do you have? Over 40 points.
He had 42 points, 22 rebounds,
rebounds,
6
yeah.
assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 7 turnovers.
Yeah. I think that when you handle the ball, you're definitely gonna have more turnovers, I feel like, especially when he's like a point center. He's basically running the show. You're just gonna have more turnovers. I think it's probably a couple more turnovers more than he wish he had, but obviously they still won the game. But I think Jokic is going to show you in this series why he's the most. And people take it for granted, like MVP just means like, oh, you're just the best player. Shea may be the best player in the league, but Jokic to me has more of an impact to the team and to the game. Sometimes, I don't even notice Shea out there. Maybe it's because of his height difference to Jokic's, but like Jokic is really out there, like impacting the game to me. So it's just personally, Jokic is my MVP in this series.
I was about to say, my friend, now don't go switching up on me, because outside the camera, you and I be talking about this a lot. And you know what? I know a lot of people for some reason that keep saying, "Oh, Shea's MVP, Shea's the best player." Listen, I'm gonna just put on the record right now when this video gets posted. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have a Stephen A. moment right now. Okay. Let's talk about this. Who's the real MVP? It's Nikola Jokic. Okay?
Yes, sir.
It's not even a question. It's Nikola Jokic. And here's why. Just because you are the best player on the best team as the number 1 seed does not mean that you automatically should be warranted the MVP. All right? Jokic statistically has had the best season of his entire career. He's even stated directly towards the end of the season that this was the best basketball that he's been playing. He averaged nearly a 30-point triple-double. A 30-point triple-double as a center. Name another center who's ever done that. I'll wait. You can't. So to me, it's ridiculous the amount of people who are so quick to crown Shea as the MVP, because it almost seems like now the league just values one specific stat outside of being the top team, like best player on the top team, and it's scoring. All I ever hear about is, oh, Shea's a great scorer. Shea's going to be the best scorer in the league. It almost reminds me of like the James Harden era when he was getting these MVPs, being the best scorer, when in reality, those MVPs should have easily went to, say, Steph Curry. They should have easily went to LeBron James. They could have easily gone to Kevin Durant. They could have easily gone to a multitude of other players. So to me, it makes literally no sense how we're so quick to crown Shea as the MVP of this season when in reality, he's just a great player on a really great team, at least balance wise in the regular season, because we're not talking postseason. Don't get it twisted. We're talking about regular season right now, right? Regular season. Think of it this way, too: adversity, storylines, narratives. There's certain things that media looks for when it comes to crowning MVP, which I don't always agree with. I just think it's who's the best player that season. And to me, I mean, again, you can't just say the person who was the best scorer wins MVP, because if that was the case, last year, one could argue Luka Doncic should have been MVP. He was the leading scoring champ last season and led his team to the finals. Not that that matters, because, again, it's a regular season award. But if we're talking about regular season impact, the fact that this guy led his team to a top 4 seed, still managed to get home court in the playoffs, and literally had to overcome his head coach, who literally is the winningest coach in Denver Nugget history, and still manage to be him and lead his team to the postseason while averaging nearly a 30-point triple-double. And you also have Russell Westbrook, who we know is not the most reliable person, and he has been known as, and it's not fair in my opinion, because I love Russ. As a Laker fan, even though it didn't work out with us, I have a lot of respect for Russ. But the word on the street is Russ is very difficult to coach. You can't win with Russ. That's always been the narrative. What the heck has he been doing? Winning with Russ. So to me, it's just like, it makes no sense. But like I said, you guys want to vote for Shea as MVP? Go for it. I just don't like to see great players who have been dominating the league not get their due. To me, there's no reason LeBron should have one less MVP than Jordan. And I'm not a Jordan guy, and I'm not a LeBron guy. I'm a freaking basketball historian guy. I love to see it. And I lived around the time when LeBron was dominant. There's easily a lot of times that he could have been unanimous MVP. He didn't get it. There's easily times he should have gotten a defensive player of the year award. He didn't get it. And we'll talk about that another time. I'll let you say a little bit more about that.
Marc
But the real
Gasol
MVP,
shouldn't have won that Defensive Player of the Year, man. He shouldn't have won it, man. I'm just saying. All right.
and I'm gonna leave it at that. That's my rant for the day. But anyways, man, like you said, I think that this is a season or a series that clearly Jokic is going to show up and show out. Obviously, we saw that just in game one. I mean, bro had literally a 40-25 game. He's one of only 2 or 3 people in postseason history to do that. Stop playing with this man's name. Now, as we're talking about MVP, a little joke that my boy Russ wanted to put in here. The real MVP we might have to talk about is Aaron Gordon, because, oh my Lord, that boy is having a hell of a postseason. Not only did he have a game-winning dunk in the Clippers matchup, but
which
to
had
start the
never
series,
happened before,
which
apparently, in
had
the postseason
not
history.
happened, has not happened. But the fact that he just did that, and now he just had the game-winning 3 to take game one in against the Thunder is just wild. Aaron Gordon, you may not remember me, my boy, but I remember you. I met you years ago, back in high school. I think it was my junior or senior year. We both had a basketball camp, I believe, in Oregon. You went to Bishop Gorman, if I'm not mistaken. I know about you, my brother. I saw you in your dunks before you were known to be a dunker. And I've always believed in you, and it's so awesome to see you kicking butt in the league. So keep doing what you're doing, even though you probably have no idea who I am. And you probably will never hear this video, but you know what? I'm going to still give you love, because respect is respect. With that being said, man, we're going to move on to our next question. All right, my boy Russ. Obviously, the Thunder just lost this game, but hope's not lost. Can the Thunder finally make it to the Western Conference Finals? What will it take? Take it away.
The Thunder, in my opinion, could make it to the Western Conference Finals, but not this year. It's like you've said in previous videos. It's the postseason is matchups. It's all about the matchups. So what you see here is a classic example of, I think that the Nuggets are just too big for the Thunder and too experienced and have gone through it before. But Can they make it to the Western Conference Finals? There's a shot. There's a shot for sure. Like I said, I don't think it's this year, but what it would take in a hypothetical, reasoning here is it's going to take Chet Holmgren making them free throws. I just feel like in that clutch right there, it came down to maybe nervousness or just in the moment, like a lot of pressure. But it's going to take Chet Holmgren definitely doing his thing. And I feel like he scores more than he scored in this game. I feel like he scores more than that. I'm not exactly sure because I don't follow them too much, but it's going to take Chet Holmgren. It's going to take J-Dub, who they say is really good. It's going to take him being really aggressive and going into the hoop. I would say Shea just does his thing. He just does his thing no matter what. Doesn't matter how it is. He lets the game come to him. And he also just takes it. Alex Caruso, shoot, I think he had 20 points too. It's like hard to say, but I think it just has to be more of an all-around game. The Thunder though, they're gonna have to get down, get dirty, and get a little bit of grit in this series because it's gonna take a lot. Because it's not easy. You got Jokic, you got Gordon. There's some big dudes out there. My personal opinion is I think the Thunder can make it to the Western Conference Finals. I just not this year.
That's a great take, my friend. Great take indeed. All right. Well, just to briefly say what I got to say for that, and I'll move on to this question. I'll tell you what it's going to take. It's going to take better contribution from the bench. You can't have a game where Isaiah Joe goes 0 for 4 from 3, only takes 4 shots. He was only in the game for 13 minutes. I'm not entirely sure why. All we kept hearing about is the Thunder's depth, especially on the defensive end, and their ability to have great perimeter shooting. In this particular game, their perimeter shooting wasn't terrible, but it could have definitely been better. Really, I think it's the free throws that hurt them. Timely missed free throws, especially towards the end of the game, sweaty palms, they like to say. It's just, it is what it is. But as far as this question, how far can the Nuggets really go if they get past the Thunder? Well, listen, I have conflicting feelings when it comes to the Nuggets because I am a Laker fan. And I've had to deal with the Denver Nuggets mafia for the past like 2 or 3 years now. And I don't like them. And having to see Jamal Murray and his like off-putting swag and whatnot, I don't like it. But I'm a respectful person. And if you play and you really show up and you show out, it's kind of hard to ignore that. So me personally, if the Nuggets are able to come out of this series on top and beat the Thunder, which they absolutely are capable of doing, I'm ready to say. It really depends on the scenario with the Warriors and the Wolves outcome because for some reason it seems like the Wolves have the Nuggets number. It's just that's what it is. And this isn't my feelings. Like I'm pretty sure they've won the last 6 matchups. They're 6-0 right now, dating back to last year's playoff situation. So to me, I do think that what you hope for as a Nuggets fan is if you can come out of this series and then you have to play against the Warriors, absolutely, I'm picking the Nuggets to go to the finals in that lineup. However, obviously, like I said, if you guys end up getting past the Thunder and you guys have to play the Wolves, I'm very much inclined to take the Wolves because, like I said, it's just something about the Wolves, man. They got that matchup locked in with the Nuggets for the past 2 seasons now. Nothing would suggest or make me think otherwise. In terms of the Nuggets getting past the Thunder, I think that what a lot of they did today has to just continuously be replicated. If you notice, the difference between this new coach Alderman versus Mike Malone is when it comes to the clutch time, he's not afraid to pull certain players and have other players go in, especially if certain players don't have it that night. He's not afraid to pull them. For example, just looking right here at the box score, Michael Porter Jr. contributed little to nothing in the starting lineup. He only played 24 minutes. He was 1 for 8 from the floor. He was 0 for 3 overall from 3. He contributed 2 points, 4 rebounds as a 6'10 forward, 1 steal, 1 block. You didn't get much. So instead of just going with your starters, he elected to have Russell Westbrook go out there. And what did he do? this was one of those good Russell Westbrook games. One of those games where you're very happy to have the contribution and the effort from a MVP, which is exactly what Russ has been. So I think that if you're really, really trying to establish yourself, go get this game too. Do I think it's going to happen? To be honest with you, I don't, because the whole point of series is adjustments, and I do think that the Thunder coach is smart enough to be able to see what they did to get the success that they got out of this game. Um, and you just have to assume that the others are going to show up a little bit better than they did before. They're going to look at the tape. They're going to see areas where they could have maybe been more aggressive, and they're going to try to go at the Nuggets in a better way than they did today. Also, I do think that the bigs, they need to show up a little bit more on the Thunder side. This is a game where not only Jokic had 22 rebounds, but Gordon had 14 rebounds, and Christian Brown, of all people, had 13 rebounds. You cannot allow that to happen. Your top rebounder was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 10. When you have Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, and again, we talk about that defensive stacked team that they supposedly had, you got to do better. But with that being said, we're going to go to our last question of the day. My boy Russ, what I want to know, what is your prediction? Who comes out on top of the series? How many games do you think it's going to go to? Let's get your take.
Well, let me start you off here, Vince. I'm not going to let you get away with that. The Nuggets have nothing to worry about because Warriors in 4. But anyways, so the series is going to end Nuggets in 6. Nuggets in 6. I think the Thunder are just going to end up winning a couple games. And it's going to seem like a close series at some point. I don't know how it's going to go throughout the series, but they're going to win 2 games, but I just feel like it's a 4-2 kind of series. Just because, like I said, the Thunder haven't really gone, like, I would say the Nuggets actually would have posed more of a threat to the Mavs last year than, and the Mavs are the one who beat the Thunder. So, and I think that the Nuggets would have beat the Mavs, to be honest, if they would have went in the playoffs last year, just because, like you said, matchups. And like we've said, I mean, the Thunder have really only beaten the Pelicans and then the Grizzlies. They really haven't gone against a team who's like really been that dominant. I mean, they lost against the Mavs team who didn't even win last year in the title. They did go to the finals, but they didn't win. I mean, hell, they lost, I think, 4-1 in that series against the Celtics. This is the first real test for the Thunder, and I don't think it's going to go well. I think that the Thunder are going to win a couple games, but Jokic and them boys, I mean, you just said it yourself. Christian Brown had, 13 rebounds? That's insane. That's wild. But the Nuggets are going to take over this series, and we're going to see them Thunder go home in 6. And they're going to be contemplating their summer this offseason, and it's going to be tough to see what they're going to be next year, because it reminds me a little bit of the Jazz a few years ago when they were number 1 and we're like, oh my gosh, the Jazz, the number 1 seed, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. And how did that go? Not so well. So Nuggets in 6. How about you, boy?
Solid take, my guy. Solid take. So solid that I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of upset. You took a lot of the things I was gonna say. Like you, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's consistent. I think Nuggets in 6. Especially with them stealing this first game in Oklahoma City after having arguably tired legs in a game 7. I think that they just have that championship DNA that we always hear about. And when it matters the most, you can always rely on the real MVP, which is Nikola Jokic. Just like he showed in this game, timely 3 with I think like a minute and 20 seconds to go. And then you get some timely stops as a team. It's almost like they know where they need to be, when they need to be there. and they're battle tested. They've already shown and proven that when it matters the most, when the lights get brightest, you can count on them. The Thunder, like you said, man, great regular season team. They're still young, but one could argue they're a solid piece away from really being an actual contender. Um, and I think that's something that we're probably going to hear more about in the offseason. But in terms of this season, I definitely agree with you, man. I think the Nuggets are going to pull away and they're going to really try to assert their themselves going into the Western Conference playoffs. Um, yeah, man, we're in for a treat. I would love to see this go to 7 games, to be honest with you, just for the fun of watching it. But I do think that I think that the Nuggets got their number, and man, which is such a crazy story if you think about it, because one could argue when they fired Michael Malone, I don't know about you, but I know myself, I'm almost like, dang, are they punting the season away? They're the 3 seed, the 4 seed. Like, they were somewhere between the 2 and the 5 seed for the longest time. They never got below that line of play-in. Even all the struggles that they had, I'm pretty sure they never once got below that play-in line. Unlike the Lakers, unlike the Warriors, unlike the Timberwolves, unlike the Rockets, I'm pretty sure. So to me, it was just kind of weird timing that they let go of Michael Malone, but man, you got to give mad props and credit to David Adelman. Like, he clearly has the locker room. He clearly has the trust of his players. You even seen instances where he allows Nikola Jokic to, in some ways, like, I don't want to say coach the huddles during the timeouts, but he allows him to be the leader on the team as he is. And in moments when you need to hear your leader say what he needs to say to galvanize the troops, he lets him do that. And he seems like a trustworthy person. The locker room guys really appreciate him. The players obviously respect him. So respect, man. And to be honest with you, if the Nuggets find a way to get to the Western Conference Finals, despite everything, I mean, to me, again, that's a really big deal, a really big accomplishment. And I would feel even more worse if Jokic didn't get MVP. It just, to me, would be like, dang, bro, it's almost like, again, it's another LeBron situation. It's like we're taking that greatness for granted. Let's hope that's not the case. But with that being said, folks, that's going to conclude the show. It's your boy Vince. It's your boy Russ. Here to give you some more inside takes on all things NBA. We are in for a hopefully good treat so far in these semifinals. But other than that, man, we're going to be coming with some more stuff. We might make some videos within the series as well, just depending on how it's going. If there's anything that we see or anything like that. But go ahead, Russ, take it away. And yeah, appreciate the time. And if you like the video, hit that like, comment what you think down below. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below.
Yes, guys, much appreciated all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. The games are going to be fun between the Thunder and the Nuggets. They're going to be fun. I don't think the Thunder are going to go down, and get cheeks clapped, belt to ass kind of thing. They're definitely going to put up a fight. But the Nuggets, with the experience, are just going to pull it out. But fun series to see. Grab your popcorn, grab a buddy, and watch these games because it's going to be fun. All right, guys. Vince, end it.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Russ and Vince Courtside Podcast, where we bring you the hottest NBA moments, discussions, and everything in between. If you like today's show, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a Courtside Podcast again.